Hello, everybody. It is Friday, June 28th. This is sig-aws. I am your moderator, facilitator, Justin Santa Barbara. I work at Google. A reminder that this meeting is being recorded and will be put on the internet, and therefore please be mindful, as always, of our Kubernetes code of conduct, and basically be a good person. Today on our agenda, Jay, at our last meeting, proposed that we go through basically 116 grooming, where we look at our GitHub issue backlog, for example, look at what the things are that we should probably look at in 116, decide whether we can actually achieve them in 116, especially on the PR front. But basically, like, sort of try to show that process and go through that more collaboratively. Often the GitHub experience can feel sort of arbitrary. So if we do it together and put it on a recording, then hopefully everyone can see it and understand our collective thought process. I'm going to try to share my screen. Oh, before we do that, is there anything that anyone else would like to bring up that is not related to 116 grooming type activities? Okay, great. I also forgot to say, please do, if you'd like to, please do put your name in the attending list in our agenda, which I am going to paste a link to in the chat. All right, I'm going to try to share my screen. Let's see, or my window. Let's see, share. I am definitely a person that has too many tabs and windows open, and now I have to find the correct one. Apologies for the delay. There we are. Command help. Okay. So we should see, I believe, the prow command help. Is that what people see? Yay, thank you. Okay, good. All right. So we might not always do this, but because I should have permissions to apply labels and things directly. But in general, this is prow.kits.io command help. And there are lots of commands which by which you can interact with GitHub without having to use sort of the GitHub UI, because not everyone has permissions to use the GitHub UI. But for example, the ones which are really important here are label. Let's see, so most people can apply labels. So if we want to add an area, remove area proud, but basically we'll probably add area AWS a lot, or even remove area AWS a lot. And what those correspond to, sorry, so that's this command here, and these correspond to the labels. And the labels that we have open are, let's pick a PR that might have something to do with AWS to go into, or yeah, this is a PR, I guess. All right, this one definitely has something to do with AWS. All right, so you see we have a bunch of labels here, and I'm not entirely sure which labels we actually want to use today, but I think probably we should use sig-aws. So if we say, for example, this one already has the sig-aws label, so, and it looks correct. Let's try to find one which does not, and let's just add that label. I can probably do labels sig-aws, invert that. Okay, so here we are. Let's try to find one which is an AWS one which is not labeled. Let's go on to the issues, because I'm sure there will be a lot more of those that have the same constraints. Sorry about this. Let's see. All right, perfect. So this one is an issue, support UDP with AWS NLB, kind bug needs sig. And so if we go into this and we comment on it, we should be able to write, I believe, sig-aws. Let me just confirm. Yeah, sig testing, so sig-aws. And I, as a any one user, I'm able to comment that. I think you might have to be a member of the Kubernetes org, but there we are, and we have the sig-aws. Okay, great. So that is the first step in our triage, which is basically to go through and make sure that everything is tagged appropriately. And so, for example, let's see. I don't know if we should tag a few more. Wait, that didn't work. There we go. I don't know if we should tag a few more, and then we can just focus then on the ones which are tagged with sig-aws. I'm just going to go through the recent ones. I don't see any. It looks like someone may have been going in and fixing them for me. Thank you. That one looks suspicious. Okay, other than that, I think we can probably focus on the sig-aws ones today. That one, proxy protocol, is actually specific to, I believe it's specific to sig-aws. Well, maybe not. I guess it's technically Nginx. We can have a look at those too. So this one looks like a, I guess it's technically, yeah, that is technically network. And this one, yes, I guess the answer here, this is really, yeah, actually that is not technically our issue. It is not specific to AWS, and I guess on AWS we also could use NLB, right? Anyway, moving on. All right, so now we can do our main triage, which is open issues, open PRs labeled with sig-aws, and we can assume that basically these are more or less good, and so we'll do the same thing. Oh, do the same thing for so this was pull requests, issues. Okay, so let's look at our pull requests first. I guess the important thing is to look at these and understand whether any of these are good. So there are about 12 that are open. So I guess we should figure out which ones we definitely want to achieve in 1.16. And the Kubernetes 1.16 deadline or release.
September 16th.
And do you know when feature freeze is?
2 weeks before that. I think it's around the beginning of the month.
Okay, so it is perfect. So we have basically 8 weeks of coding to achieve these things. So we have these PRs. I guess the question is, should we put them into milestones? This one looks pretty important. This one.
July 29th is the code freeze.
July 29th. Okay, so we have 4 weeks of. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, August.
Phew.
Multiple columns.
July 29th might be enhancements deadline, I guess.
No, I just read the wrong column. It's August 29th is code freeze.
Cool. Well, thank you for finding that. All right, these look like a lot of these we basically should. That's a cherry pick. A lot of these we should basically get in. I'm trying to think whether there's anything we would not want to get into 1.16, but let's put these into the milestone, and then we can have a look at it. So I don't know whether anyone can put things into the milestone. I think you might have to be you might have certain permissions, like be in certain groups. But if you want to, you put in milestone V1.16. There we go. Did it work? Where did it go? Didn't disappear. Okay. All right, so we have put our first one into the milestone. I don't know whether anyone else can do that, but I feel like going through these feels less important unless anyone wants to call attention to any of these PRs. It feels like we definitely need to have a look at all of these. Some of the older ones are basically pretty controversial, I guess. Like, for example, the oldest two here, I think have sort of debates as to how best to implement them, and probably would be better done with probably do need a supporting CAP or something of that nature to get them in.
The very oldest one there, that annotation, if we have an annotation, the author probably means it. That one requires just some additional testing. The patch itself looks fine. I'm just a little suspicious of it. Not because there's anything shady, just because I don't understand why the author thinks it works. But if it does work correctly, it's a good candidate for 116.
Okay. Let's see. So, all right, well, I'll leave that open. It looks like, I don't know if it's been revised since, yeah, I think I had a look at this, and I also had some questions with you. Like I shared the same questions about basically how it works. So I think we can probably talk about getting it in, but should we tag it for the milestone, or it feels weird to tag it for the milestone if we can at least unstale it, I guess. How about that? Oh, it is
Yeah, unstale it.
Oh.
I actually have this building, and I wrote a couple of additional test cases, but I actually want to try it like in a live deployment to satisfy my my understanding of it. So I'll take this. Let's not milestone it, but let's unstale it for now.
Okay, and it is unstale, it looks like, and well, you're already assigned to it, so I think it looks like we can, yeah, it looks like that's a good one.
Cool.
Yeah,
and I'll shoot for 116 on this one.
Thank you for looking at that. All right, so those are some of the, I don't know if anyone else was calling attention to any other PRs. That's an interesting one. This one I think would be great. All of this querying instances by IDs. For people that don't know, we currently do a lot of querying by name. Wow. Let's see if I still. That is expensive. And often we're querying by name just to look up the ID, the AWS instance ID. Often we go from a node to the node name to the instance ID, but the instance ID was actually just in the node object anyway, in the provider ID or external ID or wherever we put it. So yes, I think it would be great to optimize that.
And there's two approaches here. I know, Justin, several months ago, you'd proposed a fairly aggressive but definitely correct approach to fixing this. This PR that I've been following is a little bit more of a kind of tactical fix to get us through some rate limiting issues. So I think we should push this one forward, but also take another look at kind of your bigger, better fix.
The bigger, better one was basically using nodes everywhere, right?
Yeah, but it requires kind of refactoring pretty much all of those interfaces.
It does indeed, yes. So yes, I'm happy to hear this. Okay, great. So this is definitely a great one from your description then to get into 116. We understand the issue, and it feels like this is also a smaller, like, achievable fix. So that's great.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
I'd love to get the node fix into 116 if we have time, though, too.
Yeah, I feel like, yeah, let's talk about that. I guess we should talk about that now in SIG Cloud Provider. It's sort of a cross-cutting thing. If I recall correctly, though, the real problematic one was the volume interface. So we should have a look at that as well. But yeah, I guess I'll have another look at that as well and see if I can. Where's my PR? I wonder if it got closed.
I have a link to it somewhere. I'll throw that on the cloud provider meeting notes for next time.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be great. I think that would be a good thing to happen in that group. And also, if you have that PR, do add the SIG AWS label to it, because it should be on this list. I don't see it. So obviously we are missing some things. All right. So I think in terms of the pull requests, I think people get the idea. It sounds like there's not a lot that is more controversial, or where as a group we should do too much more triage on here, other than basically just getting everything in that is sensible, or that was able to be merged in, I should say. Issues, I think, are more interesting, so I will flip over to those. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on anything at this point. Actually, also, I lose the view of everyone right now, so it's difficult for me to see people.
I only see 2 issues in the list of issues.
Are you? What is your filter? How do you?
Oh, I was using the link from the SIG AWS meeting Google Doc.
That's for stuff that isn't labeled with SIG AWS yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
But like has the word AWS in there.
I see. Yes, just the need sig.
Cool. Thank you for taking capturing some of these things. And I presume that's Unidir, but thank you. All right, so we have our larger issue list, which is actually not that large. Which like 78 is pretty good for where we normally are. Just looking through these a little bit. Yeah, okay. And they all do look vaguely right, other than that one. Well, I guess yes. All right, that's a very cross-cutting thing. That feels like it probably is not ours. All right. So I guess that one, I guess AWS just added support for UDP in NLB, if that's right. So that makes sense that would be a new one. It probably should be a feature request. We can track it as such. Yeah. Labels. I'm going to look at the name of the label and I'm going to see. So it's kind feature. So I could click there because I have permissions, but I will try the one which I believe everyone can do. Yay. But it left bug. It's sort of a bug. Okay, we can leave that on there. I don't think this particular one would need a kep. I also think this would probably be a good one to get into the milestone, right? Mike, this is UDP is in like it's generally available, right? It's not some you don't have to like sign up for it. Cool. Then yeah, I think they should put this in the milestone. So
yeah, I think this would be good to get in.
Milestone v1.16. If someone else wants to try this, I saw Ilya. That's you, Ilya, right? No, that's Unidir. Sorry, I got you confused. So yeah, if someone else wants to try putting in the milestone, we can try it. See if anyone else can do that.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah, see if you have permission. Are you doing the same one, Mike? Should we wait or?
Oh, yep, I'm just about to hit go.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so it's particular teams that can do it. So, all right, that's disappointing, but all right, I will issue the command, and we've learned that you have to be, in order to get into the milestone, it has to be and we can actually mark this one as this would be a great help wanted, I think. Possibly even a good first issue, because I don't think it's terribly difficult. Hopefully, I mean, the problem with all of these is they seem easy and then we get into the weeds and there's some issue, but there we are. Let's see if that works. I think that is probably a reasonable first issue based on my anticipation of how it works. And if someone wants to tackle that and discovers it is not, then feel free to contact me, but I hope it is not too bad. Cool. All right, so now we refresh and we have all these things and it is in our milestone. This one, that's actually really messy, I think. Like we saw this one and there was some debate about like how it should actually work. I think
there's a PR open
for
this one. And I dug into this a little bit more yesterday and I think it's actually a clean PR still. There's some details around when instances disappear from the AWS API, but I think the concern was that the way the PR worked, that terminated instances would never actually get removed from Kubernetes.
Right.
And I think that's not the case. So if you don't mind taking a look at that PR today again,
okay.
Just check my work. This might be good to go and be done.
Okay. Let's at least get this. I think this is definitely, it sounds like the underlying thing is pretty significant. So let's put it in the underlying problem is sort of important because it sounds like volumes don't get detached correctly, if I understand correctly. So we should put I guess you put the bug into the milestone as well. Okay. Let's see. I don't know if anyone else wants to bring up anything that is, that would be nice. anything that is important that they would like to focus on. Otherwise, you can continue sort of randomly going through or progressively going through. Okay.
There's a whole bunch of issues related to the querying by instance ID. I've kind of got some visibility into a lot of them. I just apparently am inadequate when it comes to adding things to the milestone. So maybe I should just tag those all off and like send them to you in an email and you can mass update them or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to think whether there's any way we could, I wonder if, I wonder if that picked up your comment. So I wonder if I can, if you write milestone V116 or propose for milestone, actually, like if we do this, if you write propose for milestone V116, then we can do that. And we can also hopefully get you on the group, but.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just requested membership to the group as well. So
cool.
I'll take those ones and get them kind of corralled for this.
Thank you. That would be wonderful. And I think, yeah, but I think we definitely have discussed already the way in which people can contribute and can help, and like I think the process. I guess the remaining one way to spend the remaining time we have today is to go through just all the issues and try to work on them together, like triaging them all, or we can do other things if people would like to draw attention to anything or would like to spend the time some other way. I don't know if Jay is here. Jay?
I am.
Hey!
Sorry, yeah. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties. Had to reinstall Zoom earlier.
No worries.
But yeah, I've been here for, I don't know.
Awesome. I don't know what would you recommend we would do here? Is there stuff you would like to see, or like other questions, or should we just go through it together?
Yeah, I was just hoping to go through each of them together. You know, obviously I'm still new, so going a little bit quick for me to pick up.
Okay, sorry.
No. It's totally cool. I can work with Mike on the instance ID related things, and I definitely understand the problem domain there. For some of them, I'm not entirely sure what's going on, so could use some discussion. And
if it's helpful to go through them here, we can go through them here. I just don't want to. I didn't want to waste everybody's time on a whole bunch of things that are kind of the same thing.
Why don't I suggest this? If no one else has anything they want to discuss or want to particularly draw attention to or bump to the top of the heap, we can go through them together. Anyone that wants to drop and get half an hour back is welcome to drop. Otherwise, we can sort of go through them sort of in order and spend that time, and it will be recorded, and we'll have that going. Does that sound good to people? Or does anyone object?
I certainly don't object to that.
All right.
I had an issue this week that I'd like to bring up. So I updated to Kubernetes 1.13, and it had like I guess it's kind of like a breaking change because it stopped, my cluster stopped being able to communicate with ECR, and I needed to add a new security group in order to do that. I'm not sure if anyone else ever ran into that yet. I know that there was an update to the SDK in 1.13 for communicating to ECR with private link.
Did you open was it private link? Did you open an issue and or do we?
I didn't open the issue. I ended up figuring it out. I had to add a security group from like the worker nodes to the VPC default security group.
Okay, right. It looks like we don't know about that. So this is like if you have a private link, are you guessing?
It's even with private link not enabled. It still had that issue.
Okay. Well, I can't find an issue right now, so I do suggest if we open an issue, well, I guess the question is, has anyone else, I'll let anyone else speak up that it may have.
Justin, I think we saw one issue in GitHub where it was showing that the AWS is keeping the security group tag forever, caching. So I'm not
Yeah.
sure if it is related.
This one?
This is Micah. There was also the issue of and I don't remember how far we backported this issue, but when ECR introduced private link, they changed the API endpoint that private link resolves to for ECR. So that SDK change had to make its way backwards in Kubernetes, and I think it's only in like 1.15 and maybe 1.14. I don't think it got to 1.13. So if you're going to try to use private link with ECR, I don't think it's going to work. I'd have to double check on how far that got cherry picked, but I think it didn't even make 1.13.
Oh, is it just in EKS 1.13?
It's just we patched our kubelet for 1.13 to include that fix. It's an updated AWS SDK is all it is.
Yeah. So
the upstream 1.13 kubelet will not support private link ECR.
Got it. So I ran into the issue on EKS 1.13. Maybe that's why no one else has seen it yet. But when I updated my cluster to 1.13, none of my ECR images were able to pull anymore. They were timing out, and then I had to add a new security group in order to make that work.
Okay. What was the specific security group that you had to add, or the rule?
From the node to the VPC.
A node to what in the VPC?
So I just added it to the VPC default security group.
Okay.
So I added the VPC default security group to the launch template.
I'm trying to think why that. Did you? Yeah, I don't. We'll have to probably dig into that as a separate issue, but.
But I guess that's going to show up in 1.15 for people that are using ECR.
Even 1.14. I think we did get it backported to 1.14. I don't think we got it in 1.13. So 1.14 would be the next place to try it.
And the breakage we believe to be specific, we know to be specific to private link, or that we know here.
It's not whether or not you're using private link. It's the endpoint for ECR changed, so you need the security group for that. If
the endpoint only changed for private link, the public endpoint is still the same. It's just the private link endpoint is different.
But so I don't have private link enabled.
Oh, okay, all right, then yeah, that's separate.
I was on 1.12 and it worked, and then when I upgraded to 1.13, it broke, and I needed that security group to fix it. That's with private link disabled.
Okay.
I guess I was trying to draw a distinction between. It sounds like there's a sort of known issue with private link ECR and earlier versions of the AWS SDK, and it sounds like, Seth, you might be hitting what is possibly a different issue.
Yeah. So in earlier versions, if I enabled private link, I could not pull ECR. I ran into that same issue. Now on at least EKS 1.13 or regular Kubernetes 1.15 or 1.14, when you update, you can't hit the ECR endpoint without adding that security group.
I would suggest, it sounds like there's enough here in terms of like possibly missing release note. It might be something in the EKS build, but it sounds like there's something in open source as well that we might not have documented, right, Micah? So I guess if Seth, if you're happy to open an issue, then we can figure it out from there.
Sure. Where should I open that issue? Just on Kubernetes?
I'd say so, yes.
Okay.
That's where the ECR code is for now, right, Mike? So
Kubernetes is a good place for this.
And then,
and if you can document kind of what you've done and how you worked around it, we can try to dig into some repro as well and see if we can nail down what this is.
Okay.
Yeah, because it sounds like if the change in EKS is to update to the AWS SDK, it's not like we're not going to ever do that in open source anyway. So even if this is something in EKS, it's like a preview of what's coming to open source eventually. So yeah.
And the updated SDK is in newer versions of Kubernetes. They were just kind of some other maintainers were a little cautious about wanting to backport an SDK change just given how big of a change it is. So we didn't backport it into any other versions than like 114, I believe.
Yeah,
so new versions will hit this problem.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's definitely get this in KK, and we can hopefully figure it out. Thank you.
I do have an open enterprise support issue with like all the logs that I had for this. So I don't know if you have access to that or not, but.
Why wouldn't
we'll have to we'll have to follow up on that.
There is direct chat in Zoom if you want to, like, you can peer to peer with each other, as it were.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I don't know the consequences of putting those in public stuff. So I guess that was great. Is there anything else, any other similar preemptions, I guess, of high priority items that people would like to bring up? Otherwise, we will go through the list, I guess, starting with the security group caches, the security group caching, because that's one that just came up. All right, let's have a look. I think we just looked at that one and we tagged it appropriately. Let's see. Okay, I can only close windows using the keyboard. All right. Is that you, Seth? Anyway. Okay, we have an issue which was brought up around modifying tags on security groups, and then we are caching them we are over caching them. Yes. Yes, and we probably should have a okay. I think we should probably look at this. This sounds like a real issue. And yeah, I'm not entirely sure why I thought security groups don't change, but yeah, let's add this to the milestone. And I will take a look at that. That's definitely one that I can at least start looking at. And it's relating to caching as well, but it's a little different, I think. All right. Seth, is that you, by the way?
No, it's not me. No.
Okay. It's a different Seth. All right. Okay, and the other one we had, all right, so back to the list. Okay, so what we can actually do is we can do ones without, let's sort of burn it down. So those are the ones we've already put in the milestone. Let's exclude those so we don't keep looking at the same things. That is a cherry pick. I don't know how we can exclude that. I'll open that from my future. Okay, so I think if I click on this, yes. Okay, allow the detected name. This is it's a PR. I switched onto the wrong tab again, I'm sorry. Issues. Label sig-aws, not milestone 116. There we are. Okay. I did it again.
Just change is to is issue.
Is it issue? Is issue? Yeah, I have it pasted there. There we go. Thank you. All right. Port ranges for the ELB security group or allow the main security group to be managed. This comes up a little bit, actually. Do we know if, so as far as I understand it, services don't support port ranges. But I guess the ask here is, yeah, so I'll write a little comment. Security, case services don't currently support port ranges, I believe, but I think the ask here is for using a single security group per ELB. I'm not entirely sure if that's right, if that's really what they're asking for. I guess regardless, I thought we did do this regardless of the number of ports. So I'm a little confused. I don't know if anyone else understands this any better.
I think the ask is to reduce the number of rules on the security group to somehow dedupe them, and where they're contiguous, turn it into a range.
Oh, so this isn't, we do create a single security group, but the security group themselves have rules underneath them and we aren't coalescing them.
Yeah, I think that's...
Because this person, I presume, is working around the Kubernetes, the fact that Kubernetes services don't have port ranges by like doing port 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. We then create 6 rules, security group rules, and the ask would be that we do combine them.
Yeah, I think that's what they're saying.
We talked about this in sig-aws and check, give you credit, Nadir. Developer, no. What is it? I always get
Got it. It's random variable.
Random, thank you. Random variables suggested that you were asking that we coalesce, we combine
Contiguous port range.
thank you.
No worries.
Port range
To reduce the number of security group rules.
reduce the number of, thank you, security group rules. Is that correct? Okay. I don't think this can therefore yet go into, it is a tagged kind feature, which is correct. I don't think we can put into a milestone. We don't really understand it enough yet. It certainly sounds non-trivial as well, or at least not totally trivial. And I particularly would worry about what happens if there could be some weird edge scenario cases, like you set up these things and then you remove one from the middle and then we hit another limit or something. Or we accidentally start deleting other ones that, I don't know. But yes, it feels like it's not trivial anyway to implement. Okay, although the suggestion of doing the tag is actually a pretty good one. Let's go back to our list. Network failed to parse Kubernetes args. Pod does not have label. Gonna guess. I think this is a VPC CNI thing, right? Someone. Wow. With some Windows as well, just to really push me. I don't know what we can do about this one, to be honest. Micah, is this the AWS VPC CNI plugin?
Yeah, I think this is part of our Windows beta. So
okay.
Yeah,
this feels like it's appropriately tagged. I don't think it goes into a milestone.
Yeah, I think this is not. This is really a problem with the EKS.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a sig-aws.
Do you, let's see, what is the URL of the Kubernetes or AWS VPC?
This is the second CNI, so it's not the normal VPC CNI that you use on Linux.
Okay, so it's not this one.
It is, yeah, it's not that one.
Okay. Okay. Is there a different one that I can find, or?
I don't think that
Okay.
one is on. I don't know that one's on GitHub yet.
Okay. I just don't know where. Why don't I say, shall we track it here? And then we can, shall we move this issue to, even though it's not right, it should hopefully get it moving in the right direction, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, interest in node cache. Here we go, Mike. Here's the thing. It is indeed a, we could probably, oh, this is the bigger one. So
yeah, this is also part of that instance ID thing.
Yeah, we can cross-reference them to each other. So we could use this as the tracking issue for the whole, like, oh, this is, okay. Well, anyway, yes, we can cross-reference them to each other when we see more ones like this. 78409, that's if I can remember that. And it is indeed a feature, sig-aws, sig cloud provider, sig scalability. That looks great. There's no milestone, which seems correct. It isn't something that we have any real way of targeting to a particular milestone. And yeah, I think we chip away at it. I think this makes sense. I don't know if there's any other way.
Are quite big.
Sorry?
Like this is going to be a big refactor in the cloud provider.
Yeah, it is. I think one of the nice things we can do is we can chip away at it, I think. So I like this. I don't know if we need a KEP for the effort. I'd imagine we don't because it's a lot of bug fixes, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably no KEP on this. I don't think there's broad enough impact for this to be a KEP. It's just kind of a whole lot of cleanup that needs to happen.
Exactly. All right. Well, I think it's a good issue. I think it's appropriately tagged. I think we leave it as is. There's pity there's no way to say we have looked at this. Like, I don't know if there's. That's too bad. All right. Okay.
We need to put the priority backlog in SIG cluster lifecycle to say that we've looked at it.
Another comment. We discussed, I don't know if you're here, Harry, but in sig-aws and would love to, and agreed that this is a great goal that we should strive towards, not assigning it to a particular milestone as we imagine there be many smaller PRs towards achieving this. Sound good? Okay. Discuss the feasibility of AWS EBS provisioner to get node zone info from K8s instead of cloud provider. Here we are. Okay, so this is related to 78409 again.
Yeah.
Let's related to 78409. Sure, one day my kids are going to watch these videos and go, "See, Dad, you can't spell it all." All right. I think, yeah. But this is, I think, specifically for the storage side of things. Oh, is this specifically for the side of things?
A lot of these are motivated by storage.
Yeah.
But they're generally a problem still.
I think this is a good one. I wonder if we could, and this is actually pretty specific, right? In that this one, I'm wondering whether we can put this into the 116 milestone, in that this code, the fix for this would be pretty self-contained, other than figuring out whether or not we can do it. I'd say we put into the milestone. What do people think? I think this is a good step towards the other one, is what I'm thinking.
Sounds good. There's also a PR proposed for this.
That's even better. All right, so we have a real chance of getting it in. All right. I will shepherd this one. And anyone else want to shepherd it?
Yeah, I've been working with Harry behind the scenes on this, so tag me on it too.
Hey Justin, regarding
Hey.
this zone info, so I was just wondering if it is like a part of Cloud Controller Manager, which is going out of tree, or should it be the in tree, a part of Kubernetes, like Kubernetes?
It's a good question. Now, I actually think, okay, this is dynamic volume provisioning. So this will be in, who knows? Currently, it's in Kube Controller Manager. It will be in Cloud Controller Manager, and
Yeah,
then it will move. Sorry?
Yeah, you're correct. It will be.
And is it going to then move to CSI?
In the long term, yes. In the very short term, this year, hopefully, this is in scope for the out of tree migration. But what we've been doing so far is just putting fixes in tree with the hope of just kind of pulling everything out all at once. So I think it makes sense to fix this in tree, knowing that it's going to go out of tree.
Yeah, and we have the staging directory as the sort of stepping stone, which I know that others. Did you decide to use staging or not use staging, Mike? I can't recall.
We are in staging now. All the cloud providers have moved to staging. So,
Perfect.
Yeah, that's where I'd propose making this fix for now.
Okay, so I think that is a. So does that answer your question? I don't know how. Bagua, is that right?
Yeah.
So yes, starts in tree in staging. At some stage, we pull the cord or cut the cord, and we move it to the other repo, which I believe already exists, right? Is it Kubernetes /AWS cloud provider, or where?
It's cloud provider. It's in the Kubernetes org, and it's cloud provider AWS.
I gotta throw my around. All right.
With dashes.
Oh, cloud dash provider.
Dash AWS, yeah.
I'm trying to find it, and I will place it. Okay. Yeah. So it is hopefully. There it is. So this will be where it ends up. Perfect.
Yeah, that is the final home of it. Although the code that's there right now is a little out of date, just because we've been focusing on kind of cleaning up in-tree stuff.
Does this repo, is this basically just a mirror of what the staging is, or is that?
No, it's diverged a good bit from what staging is.
Okay, is that on purpose, or?
Originally, yes. We've kind of gone through a couple of different approaches to the extraction effort. Originally, yes. Probably in the near term, we're going to want to wipe this repo and start over from mirroring it out of tree. That's kind of a bigger discussion that might be a better cloud provider discussion. Sure.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
I think that'd be great if you've got the agenda open. I think that'd be a great thing to do. Like as I'm sure you know, there are bots which can copy stuff between staging and other repos. So we may be able to mirror it into here and then reconcile in a sort of controlled way and actually see the diffs, right? Because the real problem is going to be any diffs you have.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing to do at this point. We kind of abandoned the one approach and are now kind of headed towards maybe going back to the mirroring approach. So I'll throw that on the SIG cloud provider agenda as well, and we can kind of talk through that there. Because I think that's more broadly applicable to other cloud providers as well.
Agreed. Yeah, that's great. And thank you for bringing that up, everyone. I think for people that don't know, SIG cloud provider meets on Wednesdays of this week, bi-weekly at 1 p.m. Pacific, maybe. But I could well be wrong on that. But it's around then anyway. And they did not have a meeting this week. The next meeting should therefore be in 12 days, I would think.
That is correct.
Yay! All right. Cool. This is good. We have a couple of minutes left, so I don't know if it's worth doing a couple more or whether people want to talk about other topics that may have come up to people. We have time for one more. This one. So reporter said a seg fault. There is indeed a seg fault. So a seg fault is always a bug that needs to be fixed in my mind. So this has to go into the next milestone, regardless of what actually happens. But it should never be a seg fault. I will definitely have a look at this. I don't know if anyone else wants to have a look, but all right. And then the actual problem is they failed to get the logs. Maybe they failed to connect. Looks like they probably failed to connect to the actual pod, I would guess. Exec and deploy. Yeah, so logs. Oh, wait, no, exec. That's odd. API server connects to the pods or the kubelet. And normally if exec works, most things work. But it sounds like for whatever reason, logs failed, and then we had a panic. I'm going to guess this is actually just a bug. I don't even know what this repo is. Network service mesh. Is this? Who's this? Okay. All right. Okay. Anyway, that looks important. All right, next on the list. So we put that in the milestone because any seg fault should be fixed. Cloud provider AWS should query instance by ID again. Have I somehow mixed? Okay. Well, anyway, similar to that one. Let's come back to that one. AWS IPv6 route calls destination side block is invalid. I think the answer is yes, it does, because we don't yet support IPv6 everywhere, but it's coming. I don't know if there's really anything we can do. I'll put a quick comment there.
I'm not sure if it's the right question for here. I'm just curious, what's the basically path forward for IPv6, where we are like in any sort info or like?
Yeah, as I recall, it is actually making progress is being made. So there is an open issue for, or open PR, I should say, for dual stack, which should come in soon, or should make it into 1.16, I would guess. And I think actually, I don't know if someone can correct me, I think Kubernetes might work if you just have a pure IPv6 network today, or at least at 1.15, I should say. I don't know if anyone is that modern or that futuristic. But yeah, so this one is going to be the one where it really starts, I think, to get a lot more adoption. For better or for worse, most people are not running pure IPv6 networks, and so dual stack is where it is. I'll leave it open, leave a comment that basically case doesn't yet fully support IPv6, but it's coming. Link, and I'll fix that in a minute.
Thanks.
Yep. Sorry, I spoke over someone.
I just said thanks.
Okay, cool. We are basically at time. I don't know if there's, we can do a, all right, well, let's do one last one, which is again, similar. Well, it's the same thing. It's another one where we don't have a better choice than to poll. Oh wait, I actually think we fixed this. Anyway, this one is one where we're polling, and we probably should poll less frequently. I thought we fixed this, so I will have a look at why this is not closed. It often, oh, we didn't merge it. Okay, we did fix some, all right. I'm pretty sure we merged this fix, so I will track down why we didn't merge it, or if we did merge it, why it wasn't closed, or why it was reopened, or whatever happened.
So even if we merge, it will be merged in 116. Will it be backported till 114?
It's a good question. So all PRs go into the master branch. So as you say, that will not make it out until 116. If you do want to, if you're the author of a PR, or even if you just see a PR that you would like, you can do a cherry pick. So anyone can propose cherry picks. There is this script, hack cherry pick poll.sh, which usage instructions, there we are. So you basically, you run this cherry pick script, having set up your remotes in a certain particular way. Anyone is welcome and encouraged to do that. And then typically there are maintainers of the prior sort of stable, or the prior releases, or even the releases, I guess, who will sort of make sure that the cherry pick is sort of worthwhile. So like, there's a risk with everything. So is it worth the risk? And is it fixing a bug, or is it trying to sort of get a new feature in? And typically, if it's trying to introduce a new feature, the cherry pick will not be allowed. It will be sort of be rejected. Typically, it should be rejected. And then but if it's a regression or a bug fix, it should be allowed, as long as it isn't too disruptive. Sort of, in other words, if it's proportionate. So if it's a 1 in a billion bug that like has a pretty high chance of blowing up the release, then it wouldn't be allowed. But if it's a pretty small, sensible fix that is proportional, then it would be. And you do not have to be the author to propose a cherry pick. So if you see a fix going into master that you would like to cherry pick, I believe the etiquette is to say, I'd like to see this in 114, and give someone a chance to reply, and then you can run the cherry pick script to propose that cherry pick.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. That's good. I feel like we touched on a bunch of other stuff along the way as well. We are at time. I don't know if there's anything else anyone else wants to discuss. Otherwise, I think we have started to. Thank you, Jay, for proposing this. I think I had a good time.
Well, thanks for doing it, and sorry for having technical difficulties joining up front. Sorry.
It took me a while to start the meeting as well, but we won't mention that. I always lose my password every time.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, everyone. And I guess at that we will call time, and we will see everyone in 2 weeks. And I wish everyone a happy holiday that is celebrating a holiday next week, or part of next week.
Cheers. Thanks, Justin.
Thanks.
Thanks. See you.
Bye.
Thanks.